Hi there, my name is Yolanda de Prado Slack. Welcome to my beauty channel. This video is for a lot of you who have just gotten your makeup and maybe you are wondering, well, how do I put it on again? It looked easy when I did it in the tutorials from either a class that I did or maybe we spoke, maybe I did a makeover on you. So this video is for any girl who wants to go over the basics of applying a full hack. First of all, gotta have Houdini or a brush cleaning spray. Use one of the microfiber cloths that Maskcara has. They're great for removing makeup off your face. They're very nice and gentle for your brushes as well. Or just use a paper towel. But it's a little bit more save the whales if I use a towel, because I can just throw this in the washing machine and reuse it. So the typical Maskcara microfiber cloths are going to be just pure white, but this is a special memento from our recent conference. So there's a bunch of different brushes. You can use many different kinds. A lot of times I will recommend the 30-second hack brush for you beginner girls. Maybe I recommended the detail hack or the blush and the bronzer brush. Regardless, it doesn't matter what brush you have, unless it's maybe one of these eyeshadow brushes. You can do your whole face with one brush. You can use your fingers. You can use a small brush and then blend with the perfector sponge. There's something going on with the light here. So if your budget only allowed you to get one brush, that's perfectly fine. You can do many things with that. I'm going to use the 30-second hack brush. I am going to use the B squared brush, and I'm going to use the Power Powder brush. Just because I have them, and in case you got more than one brush, now you can see me use it. So I'm going to do a trick too in case you got Bella bronzer. A lot of us put bronzer on at the end for a bronzed look, but you can also kind of wake up your face and your complexion by adding the bronzer underneath your highlight and contour. And remember, the highlight is your foundation, so there is no foundation that you put the highlight on top of. It may look more similar to a concealer or a stick that you were used to, but this is going to go over your whole face and it's going to do some magic because of its color correcting technologies. So a lot of us will tap into the Bella bronzer, which is our cream bronzer. You can do that. I like to swirl it because that way I get it on a larger area on the brush. And I've moisturized with my SPF. However, make sure that you let it really sink into your skin before you start applying your makeup. You want at least 10 minutes. Like I'm talking, first thing you do after you wake up is you tone, if you do that, and then put on your lotion. If you have a good lotion that's hydrating, you won't need to put any lotion on in the morning. Most of us can survive with just putting lotion on at night and then having hydrated skin in the morning. My skin, however, I have what's called atopic skin, which is pretty much the opposite of oily skin. So it doesn't produce as much oil as a regular skin does, or sebum, the technical term. So it gets very dry, and I need to moisturize in the morning and in the night, not to mention the SPF. Pardon whatever's going on with my hair here. All right, we put on bronzer. You can already see it neutralized a lot of my redness that I have. I still have darker circles. I have some fun little friends popping in. I have something weird going on here on my nose today. One is a scratch and the other one's a zit. I don't know what I did there. So now we're going to go back in and get my 30-second hack brush, provided I can find it. There it is. They say use this end for blush, contour, and this end for applying your highlight all over your face. Because of the way it's cut, I like to use it opposite, because when I apply, especially if I don't, it's hard to stipple with it, and if I do this, it leaves streaks of the makeup. So I apply contour with the pointy end, and I apply the highlight with the stubby end. So I start with my darker highlight. Most of you I've assigned a darker one and a lighter one. The darker one should match your overall skin tone. So if you only went with one color, this is the color that would replace your foundation. So basically you could put it all over your whole face, but I don't like to layer the product except for on my nose and my chin area because I'm very red around here. But I would basically put it on the low part of where a beard would grow. So along the jawline, bring it up, basically do the little triangle here around the nose and up the other jaw. Remember, less is more with cream. The biggest thing, hang on. So I have a lot of forehead space, so I add a little bit of the main highlight on the temples, leaving this end bare and right along the hairline bare, but I'm filling in the blanks right there. I forgot what I was going to say. It'll come to me. All right, so we have no makeup here because we were going to do contour, we're going to do blush, we're going to do brightening highlight, we're going to do all kinds of things. Now, excuse me, I have something in my eye. I was saying less is more. That was the biggest thing I had to learn when I started applying my makeup, is less is more. Now, I don't need to use it every day, but I didn't sleep good last night, so I'm going to do a little bit of Frenchie. You just dip your finger in, or you can use a brush, or you can use the multitasker as a great way to be gentle on your under eye skin area here. Depending on what tone or what color your under eye area is, I might recommend Frenchie, I might recommend Bella, I might recommend something that's scarlet, bright red, I might recommend Mango, that's more yellow. So one size doesn't fit all when you think about color correcting. And really, if you have poofy under eye bags or saggy skin or anything like that, that's skincare. Unfortunately, we can't do anything about texture with makeup, but we can certainly hide some of the flaws. Now, it looks like I'm digging in and putting on a lot of color on my brush here, but really I've used my aura to death. So it looks like I'm really digging it in just so I can get it on the brush, but less is more. When in doubt, if your face feels tacky, like you feel like you have makeup on, if it looks like you have texture problems, if you can see your pores, if you have streaks in your makeup, then you have too much on. If you can't stop putting on too much when you use a brush, use a finger, use the cheetah hack method, okay? Just make some dots and then you stipple it on, especially if I have a color underneath the main highlight. Because if I start swiping, then I'm just going to swipe off the Frenchie and the Bella bronzer, and nothing's going to be in place and nothing's going to get color corrected. Okay, so we have the main highlight around the beard, as well as temples, and in my case, the middle of the forehead. If you have a smaller forehead, just put it on the temples, so you don't need to connect it. Now I'm taking my brightening highlight, which would be the equivalent of a concealer, and I'm bringing it under my eye in a pie piece shape. So think Nike swoosh. Down the side of the nose, up to the temple, and connect and color in. This brightens. It's called the triangle of light, basically right here. In a 3D shape, it would be protruding forward, which is what light does. It also goes down the center of the nose, under the nose, and the jawline. I mean, under your lips here on the jaw. So just picture drawing a straight line with the brightening highlight. We put some between our brows, and then we fan it out. And you see my tone is a little bit warmer, like a glow without being shimmery because of the Bella bronzer we put underneath. Now you can do a couple things with the contour. You can just take your finger and you can just draw a line, work with dots, or you can draw a line and then blend it out. If you have trouble finding your cheekbone, here's a tip. You always never go on the inside of the corner of your eye. You find your cheekbone, and as it sinks in, that's where your bone is on top. So we want the contour to go under, and you start at the top of your ear. Okay? So in this case, I used my finger to do a small line, and I'm just going to take the brush a little bit and soften it up. But the contour out of all of the creams is the densest one. So I like to put it on my face and then just let it warm up, because it's going to be a lot easier to blend when it's been on there. I can also take my brush, dab it on. For the nose, I can use the tip. It's nice. You just tilt your head forward and you paint it on a little bit. If you're not afraid to touch your makeup or get a little dirty, you dip both middle fingers in there, touch the tips together, and draw a straight line, and then you connect the eyebrows. You want the contour to be really on the top of your nose. You don't really want it to come down to the sides, because the shadow wants to be on top. And the reason you would use nose contouring is to make a straighter, thinner, narrower nose, if you will. We're just gonna let that sit there for a little bit. Then we are going to choose a blush. So when you're blush junkie, this is usually the first thing that you add on more of. I'm gonna take Desert Sunset today. You can either just apply it with a finger to make sure you don't put on too much, or you can take the same brush you just used to do your whole face, or if you're lucky and you have more than one, you can dip the brush straight into the blush, and it just goes on top of the contour. So it goes at least 2 fingers away from your nose. You can put it there and you start bringing it back over the contour, but not in your under eye area. You don't want the blush that high. Okay, and this is a very subtle color, whereas if you go with something bolder, don't worry if you put on too much. This is one of the only makeups around that you can actually take off by either blending or swirling. The more you swirl and blend, the finer the line is going to be. Now the blush, you stipple it on in dabbing motions. You blend it by stippling down towards the contour and back. Then you blend the contour by stippling up like a push-up bra, blush down. Okay? There's an odd light there. So blush, back and down, contour, up. And just by stippling. Baby steps, it's blending in there. Okay? Now, having this fluffy brush is amazing. Blending is a breeze. Just check out what's happening to the nose contour, for example. Just doing one side. When you do the nose with a brush, hold it at the back, tilt your head forward a little bit, and just light little fluffy movements with the hand. Or you can get the Perfector sponge. This is the mascara sponge. It is unlike any sponge I have ever felt. It is so soft. It's like dabbing a cloud on my face. And what's great about the sponge is too, not only does it blend, but it almost like picks up some of the excess makeup. So especially if you have fine lines or mature skin, this is a must-have. I have a lot of, creases from my smile lines. It prevents it from getting collected in there. And again, you're dabbing. You're not swooshing it around. You're not painting. And always use your Perfector sponge wet. So I wet it and then I squeeze all the water out of it. And this is basically the last step. I could also take the one brush I did my whole face with. I can do all the blending. But if you have one brush, so you end up having cream and blush and contour and everything on one end, I would Not after every use, but after, maybe after every 2 uses, clean it a little bit with a brush cleaning spray. It dries immediately, so it renders the brush very easy to use again. So you don't have to worry about that. But it's also great, even if I did just put blush on, I can still go underneath my eye. It only moves it around, and it only picks up as much product as you need to transfer to your face. So you're basically not sitting there worried that, you know, once you put the blush on, you can't use the brush for anything else. All right. Now, for the nose, once you blended the contour, you go into your brightening highlight with a finger. It's way too much. And you just drag a white line down the middle and the tip. Okay. Now, I like to do my powder before I do illuminator. If you got our vanilla dust, it is fantastic because it fits right into your compact, but any translucent setting powder works. You stipple it. You press it into your skin, preferably with a denser brush, in my opinion. And powder is the one thing, it does go in between the bristles. So the powder brush you might want to wash with soap and water ever so often. If you only use powder to set the makeup like I am right now, it's not going to need a wash more than maybe once a month or something like that. But it's good to hit it with the sanitizing brush cleaning spray. So the powder gets pressed into the, what's it called? Cream makeup, which sets it in place. It doesn't move. It doesn't, it's not soft anymore, if you will. So especially in areas where you have fine lines and many expressions, those are the areas where you want to set it. Always press it in. You also want to focus on the oily zones. So between your brows, under your eyes, around the nostrils, and your chin. This is an oily zone. If you have wrinkles around your mouth, then you can set it all over the mouth. But don't do powder on your whole face because it takes away from that dewiness. It takes away from the natural look of your skin. Once I have done the powder, I'm going back into my illuminator. And the illuminator, especially if you have a cream, you see how it picks up the light? It only shows when it hits light in a certain way. What in the world? Toucan right there. So I put it on top of my cheekbone. I like to bring it down my nose and the tip. I like it right over the Cupid's bow right there. And you can throw a little bit for extra measure under your eyebrow or on the brow bone right there. And voila, we have a full hack. Some more fun things you could do. You could take the multitasker and you can line your lips. It creates a fun little shadow, giving you a powderier look. You blend it in by just tapping. You can take the contour, so the same stuff you contoured your face with earlier, and you can fill in your brows. I recommend the hot line brush if you're going to fill in your brows. It is just an amazing angled brush. Thankfully, I walked out of the 90s with eyebrows. Thank you, Mom. Sometimes we need to save our daughters from themselves. So this is the angled brush, the hot line. It's just a fabulous, fabulous brush. I'm gonna do a little milk lip conditioner. And then I'm gonna throw on a little Desert Sunset, which what we have on the lips. And we're gonna throw on a little bit of eyeliner. Okay. I gotta remember to breathe when I do that part. Okay. And then mascara. I'm not going to bother curling my lashes at the moment, but obviously that's a step that a lot of girls like to do. I can show you super quick eyeshadow looks, but everybody has their own preferences, and I got tutorials focusing on just that as well. If you do eyeshadow, I recommend priming it with your cream makeup. Basically make the lid as natural colored as possible, or like in my case, pale. And then the pigment just pops up a little bit more. You can use a finger or you can use a brush. And then a little bit of shimmer. The denser the brush is that you use to apply, the more pigment. So my finger obviously is pretty dense. So we're gonna get a nice pop of color. There, that's it. Now as far as storing your double-ended brushes, we're gonna have a separate video on that you can look up in my group. But if you have any questions, let me know. Remember a couple things. Don't layer your makeup, you don't need to. Bella bronzer can go underneath your highlight and contour, or if you want a more bronzed look, on top. You want to apply your powder to set your makeup, and after you apply your powder, that's when you would apply your illuminator. You can use your contour for many different things, such as eyeliner, brow filler, contouring, lip lining. During the worst COVID season, I used it to cover my roots. Clean your brushes. You buy a spray. You can use Houdini. I like Felix on Amazon. And yeah, I have tons and tons of tutorials, so don't be afraid to ask. The last step before I let you go is always use a stay spray. This helps set the cream that we didn't put powder on. Anywhere from 2 to 4 spritzes in an X shape or a C shape to get the mist all over your face, and then just let it dry. That's it. Thank you so much for watching.